Good morning students, how are you? Hope all of you are fine. And same with me, I am also fine. And today in our social science class we are covering chapter first, the Indian Constitution, and in this today's part 3rd, we are covering question answer session. But we had given one question to you कि संविधान को बनने में कितना समय लगा था? Yes, answers are with us. 2 साल 11 महीने and 18 days, 2 years 11 months and 18 days is the time period of making our own constitution of India. Yes, we had discussed about the Indian constitution in our chapter reading session, about the conditions of Nepal, about the monarchy system, about the democracy system and new concepts of democracy in Nepal. We had discussed our fundamental rights also in our chapter reading session. So here is our question answer session. So ready with me for first question. Why does a democratic country need a constitution? Yes, important question students. Yes, every democratic country needs a constitution. So here is our answer. A democratic country needs a constitution because in a democracy people choose their representatives and the leaders might misuse their powers. Constitution provides safeguards against this also. So first option is totally clear to all of us that in democracy people choose their own representatives, and if in any condition leaders might misuse their powers, then they had another provision in our constitution that our constitution provides safeguards against these types of leaders. In democracy, the constitution ensures that the dominant group does not use power against less powerful groups. So, maybe rich people, maybe poor people, maybe from the higher caste, maybe from the lower caste. In front of constitution, all are same. So here this concept is clear that no any dominant group use their own power against the less powerful groups. Next is the constitution guarantees fundamental rights to the citizens for their social, for their economic and for their political welfares. Yes, people had equal fundamental rights. We had discussed fundamental rights in our chapter reading session. So all these people had a guarantee by the constitution that for their social, economic and political welfare they had their own rights of choosing all these options. Here is our next question about Nepal's condition. See, look at the wordings of the two documents given below. The first column is from the 1990 Nepal Constitution. The second column is from the more recent Constitution of Nepal. So here is the table. First is 1990 situation. See, Constitution of Nepal, and in part 7 they had executive. What is mean by this in the year 1990 here? Article 35 executive powers had a clear explanation about this. The executive power of the Kingdom of Nepal shall be vested in His Majesty and the Council of Ministers. It means totally clear that monarchy system was there, and under monarchy system the executive power lies within the Majesty himself and the Council of Ministries. But situations changed, students, and in the year 2015 Constitution of Nepal had different concept about federal executive. Part 7th clear all these things about federal executive, and this one Article 7 is here. In this one Article 35 is here, and here is Article 75. Executive power. Here executive power consists with whom, students? Clear concept is here. The executive power of Nepal pursuant to this constitution and law, be vested in the Council of Ministers, not with His Majesty, with the Council of Ministers here. Okay. So, what is the important question here? The question arises here. What is the difference in who exercises executive powers in the above two constitution of Nepal in the year 1990 and in the year 2015? So, here is the answer regarding this one. In the 1990 Nepal constitution, the executive powers of the kingdom were entirely in the hands of the king. It means a monarchy system was there on that time. So, according to the interim constitution drafted in 2007, the executive powers of Nepal are in the hands of the Council of Ministers, and this Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. So, the situations totally changed. First, all the powers were in the hands of the king, but later on what happened, students? All the powers hands of the Council of Ministers, and this Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister of Nepal. There was a direct need for a new constitution as the ideals of the people had changed as the country had moved from a monarchy to a democracy. पहले क्या था बच्चों वहाँ पे? पहले राजा राज करते थे. Then after democracy is there, the old constitution was drafted when the country was under the rule of the king. And what next one? The people of Nepal fought for democratic government for many years, as we had discussed in our chapter reading session about the two situations of Nepal. Yes, what were the circumstances going on that time? People fought for their rights, for the democratic government. So, the old constitution does not reflect the ideals of the people. What about the new constitution, students? The new constitution will change the rule of the old constitution, and all these rules in order to bring a new society with the new ideas. So, the concept is totally clear to you about the different two situations in Nepal. Here is our third question. What would happen if there were no restrictions on the power of the elected representatives? हमारे जो जनप्रतिनिधि हैं, जिनको हम चुनते हैं बच्चों, उनके ऊपर उनको कोई भी restrictions उनकी powers के ऊपर ना किया जाए, तो ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है क्या? वो क्या करेंगे अगर कोई भी restriction ना होगा तो? If there were no restrictions on the power of the elected representatives, then many situations are there. These leaders or representatives might misuse. Yes, they misuse their authority, and this misuse of authority can result in gross injustice and mismanagement. So, these restrictions are necessary for every elected representative. What about our next question? See, in each of the following situations, identify the minority. माइनॉरिटी को हमें छांटना है. राइट वन रीजन व्हाई यू थिंक दैट इट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट टू रेस्पेक्ट द व्यूज ऑफ द माइनॉरिटी इन ईच केस ऑफ दिस सिचुएशन. वी आर टेकिंग डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ केसेस हियर. द फर्स्ट केस इज हियर. इन अ स्कूल विथ 30 teachers, 20 of them are male. Then what about the other 10 students? See, 10 female teachers are in minority position. It is important to respect the views of female teachers so that male teachers do not use their power against these minorities. So, this concept is clear to you. We had another question here. For an example, in a city, 5% of the population are Buddhist. 5%. Okay. So, what about this one? 5% of the Buddhists are in minority. It is important to respect the views of the Buddhists so that they will not be dominated by the community in the majority. So here totally the concept is clear that these minorities people should be protected, should be given their own laws, rules and benefits by the constitution. We had one more part here. In a factory mess for all employees, 80% are vegetarians. What about 20% students? See, 20% of non-vegetarian employees are in the minority section. Their views should be respected as eating non-vegetarian food is their personal choice. So this concept is clear to you. We had another example also here. See, in a class of 50 students, 40 belong to more well-off families and 10 students, they are not from the well-off families. Then these 10 students belong to poor families and are in the minority section. So scholarships, special classes and other welfare schemes. Other welfare schemes, it means like book banks facility, like free supply of books, stationeries and free uniform are to be planned to keep in view their requirements. This concept is followed in our schools also, students, that all the students treated same in front of the teachers with their own facilities. These facilities will be provided to them by the governments of the states or central government. Okay. Here is our next question, student. This next question covers about the two sentences. Two sentences for what? One by one we are discussing here. Write two sentences in your own words on why you think this feature is important. Yes, we had discussed different features of our constitution in our chapter reading session. So one by one we are taking here. First one we are taking about the federalism. What is this federalism? We will tell few points on this one. Means more than one level of government in the country. And as we had discussed different levels of government, India has a three-tier government. And India needs a three-tier government because of the diverse religious and cultural composition of its citizens. We had discussed about these tiers here, about central government, about state government and about Panchayati Raj system. So all these governments are necessary because of the diverse religious and cultural compositions of its own citizens. A government in the central alone could not be effective for everyone because all the powers and revenue system are not beholding with the central governments. Many subjects are divided among central government and state government. Next comes separation of powers. We had discussed in our chapter reading session. See, one by one we will write the important points here. In order to prevent the misuse of power by the elected representative, the Constitution advocates separation of powers. हमारे जन प्रतिनिधि हैं वो अपने अधिकारों का दुरुपयोग ना करें, तो इसी के लिए यह जो सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स है इसको लिया गया है. ईच ब्रांच ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट हैज इट्स पावर्स फिक्स्ड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. The Constitution ensures that a balance of power is maintained between the legislature, between the executive and the judiciary system. It means three organs of systems are there, and under three organs of the Constitution, what happens? Three organs of government. First one is the legislature, second one is the executive, and third one is the judiciary. So all these maintained the balance of powers. Next comes fundamental rights. Yes, we had discussed some fundamental rights of the peoples of India. Fundamental rights guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against the other individuals. It protects minority communities and guarantees rights against the majority. That's why we had taken that important question about the minority and majority. Okay, the concept is totally clear in your minds. Here is our last option, parliament forms of government. We had discussed this topic in chapter reading session, but this one is the important form of government, and in India we, the peoples of India, elected our own representatives. So see, in a parliamentary form of government, the constitution guarantees universal adult franchise for all the citizens of India. That is, all adults have a right to vote, irrespective of whether they are poor or they are rich, they are educated or they are uneducated, a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian. It means of any caste, of any religion, of any gender. The idea of a universal adult franchise is based on the rights to equality. So here is our important question answer session of the first chapter, the Indian Constitution, and the concepts of our Constitution, the fundamental rights, different organs of government, and monarchy system as well as democracy system in Nepal, and the important 3 tiers of government. Every concept is clear in your mind. So ready with me in your next parts, next chapters, next session. Stay with us. Have a nice day.